What three words would you choose to describe the Iranian American experience?
3 words? I would say resilient, industrious. I'm trying to think of the last one. Proud. Like the pride that the Iranian community brings. I mean, there is an expectation that is set on us that like what I achieve and my happiness is a reflection of my father's legacy and my grandfather's legacy and my great-grandparents' legacy. I want to make my parents proud. I have found freedom in roots, which is not something I ever thought I would say. I am, well, it depends on how you define first generation. So I was the firstborn in Georgia, firstborn in the United States on my dad's side, second on my mom's. My dad was born in Iran, outside of a small town called Tabriz, and he escaped here in, I believe, 1981.
The revolution happened in 1979. Before that, Iran looked very different. It was called like the Paris of the Middle East. My grandfather was a member of the parliament in Iran, the last parliament of the king. My grandpa stayed for 2 years after the revolution, underground, trying to be part of the resistance. And he told me, he said the hardest day of his life was the day he had to leave the country. Like stepping over that border was the hardest moment in his life.
I came to this country 1998, September 1st, 1998, after I married my husband. And we made the decisions, come here because he felt there is more opportunity for living in this country. And I agree with him. In Iran, I had a very good lifestyle. I had a house, I had a car. As a midwife, I had my own private practice in Iran. And also I was an instructor in a university. When I came here, it was hard. It was very hard for me, but more populations from Iran came here, the communities started growing. It's much better than 1998. Global changed the face of the Persian food in the Atlanta. It's a beautiful store. You can find anything you wanted there. Wow. These are awesome. These are the chickpeas cookies. It reminds me of my childhood when me and my mom were making these ones, for the New Year's. This is fava beans, babali taze. They boil it and they eat it with the salt and vinegar. And of course, quince is the magic fruit, and pomegranate. Believe it or not, 30 years ago when I came to the United States, it was very hard to find pomegranate here, and now you can find it in grocery stores. That's the tea section. Tea is one big part of our culture. You wake up in the morning, you make your tea. When you come home from the work and you're tired, you have your tea. And after the dinner, you have a tea too. Thank you. You got a video of me? Oh my gosh, stop! After 26 years, being in a country, it came, the opportunity that I opened my own hospice. I have a partner. He's Iranian too. And this opportunity came and we opened our hospice. And I get exactly the same equality with anyone's born and raised here, Now I'm serving the patients and it's a privilege for me. I really love to do that. I learn a lot here, I appreciate this culture that modified my thinking, modified my behavior, and helped me to raise children that they are very open-minded, they are very positive, they are hard worker. I don't know, is our expectations they are working so hard or they learn to be hard workers?
It's your expectation.
You said it.
Peace and love, mommy.
Thank you.
You kind of grow into your identity because when you're a young kid, like being from a different culture is almost like being from a divorced household, right? With one culture, you're in one world, and when you step into the other world, you're a different person in a sense. And now, how do you bridge that gap?
You know how all friend groups have like names? Our friend group name is Team Milli, which is the name of the Iranian national soccer team. And so we're very on brand.
You always got the lines of the ball on. My brother and I, we started playing soccer when we were 4. Like, we started really, really young, and we just absolutely loved the sport. Because also, when we would go over there to Iran as kids, we play in the streets. We'd set up rocks as goals out in the alleyway, and we just play there, like in the streets.
We call backgammon takhte. In Farsi, we play with rules that are a little bit different than the Western backgammon game.
I'm surprised you want this on camera, Sherman.
Don't worry, you're gonna get waxed.
The backgammon board itself is of this very specific Persian craftsman style called khatam, where they will cut slivers of wood and hammer them together into these beautifully intricate designs.
Yo, Kamran rolled a jofshish and a jofset in a row, and he got me. It's a symbol from Zoroastrian.
Good deeds, good thoughts, good actions.
There is an idea that is portrayed to the world about what America is, and coming here is a very different story. My father was a pharmacist. Everyone has an American version of their Iranian name. Almost all Iranians do. So my dad's American name is Joe, but they all called him either Joe or Doc. I think having a pharmacy in Old Fourth Ward in Sweet Auburn, and the number of people he saw walking by bloodied, or the number of people on the street that whose feet he would clean just to try to keep them from losing a limb because they were diabetic. He would be in the suit and he would get on his knees on the pavement and take off their shoes and start cleaning them. It's like cleaning his feet or a wound on their leg. And I think seeing a country that was boasted as the best country in the world, he saw the way that the country treats its most poor. And so watching my father open his pharmacy in that community, because he said he saw people dying there for the same reason they were dying back in Iran, and watching everything he put into it very much instilled in me, like I very much carry that into my work every day. It has definitely had an impact on how I carry myself as a representative, as a lawmaker, and how I focus the areas I work in. He will never know how much of a hero he is to me.
I would say the 3 words that describe the Iranian community to me is finding our home. There's a sense of being outcast when you're Iranian.
I have always felt like an outsider. Growing up as an Iranian kid in a really, really white community was not easy. Like wanting to touch or hug teachers, because culturally, in our family, when you walk in, it takes 30 minutes before you can sit down, because you go and you individually greet everyone, hug them, kiss them on the cheek, ask them how they're doing. And American culture just isn't like that. So I would say when I was super young, I loved being immersed in it. As I got older, it felt like my rights and everything were stripped away from me. I wasn't even allowed to shave my legs or do my eyebrows, and until my mom came home one day and found that I had shaved off half of my eyebrow, then she let me professionally get them done. So I won that fight. But getting rid of a unibrow was considered indecent by my family. Whereas I was just a kid that wanted to fit in with the white kids and not be called the Wolverine at school. Or some of them like to call me, they also like to call me Willie B after the gorilla at the Atlanta Zoo. Little racist. To grow up with 2 parents that were very much immersed in that culture, but also growing up here and then having one side of your family whitewash your culture and then the other side of the family very much dive into it, but not getting to really be a part of either world.
I had a big unlock when I was probably 26, 27, so fairly recently, where I was like, hey, I'm not 50% Iranian, 50% American. I'm 100% Iranian, 100% American. So when I introduce myself now, I say, hey, I'm Rostam Zafari. I say it correctly because it's when I was younger, I say, I'll just go with Rostam, or something a little bit more Americanized, because I was what if they don't accept me, right? And that's a fear I think you have when you're younger, where it's you just want to fit in. And so there's a lot of there's a gravitational pull towards not standing out. And then when you get older, I think you embrace the things that make you more unique or make you that are true to you. I think you just become more authentic when you care less about what other people think, you know? I wanted to create something that our community, both Iranian community and American community, could be proud of where they come from, their roots, to be excited, to be grateful, to be educated on who they are.
My name's Stan Mullins. I'm a sculptor, painter, artist, caregiver of dogs. The genesis of it was Cyrus the Great.
Cyrus the Great was born around 570 BC. He united the tribes on the Iranian plateau and founded the Persian Empire.
This is much bigger than a Stan Mullins art piece. I'm working with Rustam and his team. We really want to make this something that not just the world is proud of, but specifically the culture that came from Cyrus the Great.
Sculpture is a long process. Like before I got into it, I was like, oh, how hard does it be? You just make a design and ask someone to clay it up, you know, you're done. But it's a lot more than that. So you first make a miniature and then you blow that up to like the full size, whatever, 18 feet.
The fun is showing off that culture. I can flow with the physical aspects of things. And so it's really nice because Cyrus is telling me what to do, when to do it. You know, it's pretty fun.
Each version we get to make improvements because I wanted to be very historically accurate.
One of the things that Persia is famous for is tapestries and their textiles. And so quite literally, I want that to be gossamer on these massive arms. And so really strength and fragility, which I'm sure he had as a leader, the power to enforce the correct will, but then also the wisdom and the grace to have leniency when he needs it.
The beauty of his legacy is that he's not known as a conqueror, but as a liberator. The Cyrus cylinder, it's a cuneiform clay tablet. You see him holding it high in his right hand.
It's essentially a Bill of Rights. He's declared that all the slaves are free from the previous Babylonian Empire. He's going to enable them to have their own religions back.
And that really inspired the authors of the Magna Carta and later the authors of the U.S. Constitution as they're thinking through what kinds of freedoms should a good society provide. The ideas of what holds society together, love for country, love for each other, they're as important now as they were in 580 BC. That's what we want the statue to share with the world.
One more thing I learned about this country is there is not such a thing as a volunteer in any part of the world, not at least in my country, in Iran. For everything you do, you're expecting to get paid. But this country is based on lots of volunteer works, you know, how great it is, you know. This is about this country.
I am very involved in public service. Yeah, so like public service, right? That's kind of the core of what I do in my day-to-day, what I've kind of tried to center in my life and my career and my friendships around. And so today I'm at the Northwest branch of the library, which seems like such like a mundane task, but you know, you're doing something that gives back to people who come here and enjoy this public service. It feels good and important to be here and doing a task like this.
I grew up in a household that didn't believe in politicians and didn't believe our government did much to protect us. And realizing that I saw similarities between my hometown and war-torn parts of the world made me want to stay and work on the foundation of where I'd come up.
New at 11, we're taking a look at a history-making moment in our Voices for Equality series.
Atlanta City Council continues to make history. In November, Liliana Bakhtiari was elected as City Councilwoman for District 5, making Atlanta City Council the only current city council in America with 2 Iranian Americans.
It's incredible that my identity finally feels validated. And I get to talk about that. And I get to talk about my family's history and that legacy and everything that was sacrificed to get me here.
Bakhtiari's father immigrated from Iran in the 80s, instilling a conviction to fight for what she believed in.
I ran because it felt like, with the Muslim ban, with the political hostilities, with the rise in xenophobia, with everything that was occurring in 2016 and in 2017, it felt like if we didn't have a seat at the table, then we were going to be part of the meal. And I felt like if I had a seat at the table, there was a way for me to protect my community. I do feel that I bring my culture into this every day because, like, the more in touch with my identity and my culture that I get, the stronger my confidence becomes and the more I'm able to do this work. What makes me proud is that to be deemed an outsider that gets to still sit up here and humanize different perspectives and gets to be part of the lawmaking process, that doesn't happen in a lot of other places.
There are a lot of groups and a lot of organizations and people that work to serve the community here in Atlanta.
There were a Persian center, Iranian center called Kanun.
Kanun, it means a place of gathering. Such societies are commonly known as Kanun among Iranians. We are a non-profit organization. We are non-religious, non-political. We focus primarily on promoting Persian culture and charity, supporting the poor, supporting students' education. We provide scholarships to students. A very important component of our activities, which is for senior citizens. The respect for the elderly is top of our values. Many Iranians, they live with their elders. That's very important to them, to provide them all the respect that they need. They come here, they start with breakfast, backgammon, playing games, classes in Persian, art, music, yoga, dance. So we're constantly engaged in charity to bring back or give back to our community.
Atlanta is one of the cities across America where you have a lot of people from the Iranian diaspora that chose to stay here and settle here. I think there's something about the community here in Atlanta, and it's so fun to like be out. You hear someone speaking Farsi and your ears like perk up.
Salam, man Leila hastam. Khosh oumadin be Festival Persian Atlanta.
And you're like, oh, my people are here.
Nowruz, the translation is New Year or New Day. For us, the beginning of the year starts on March 21st, which is the first day of spring. It's a celebration all day. We have traditional music, cultural tents, vendors, a bunch of restaurants who are going to serve Persian food, kebabs. We estimate the number of Iranians in Atlanta to be anywhere from 30,000 to 50,000. But the Persian festival, believe it or not, is mostly Americans. We are very proud of our heritage. So celebrating our history is extremely important to us.
There's so many things that people can just freely do on the streets right now here that they can't do in Iran, and that's playing music in public, dancing in public. In Iran, it's hard for people because they can't express like their creative voices, and Iranians are some of the most creative, talented people you will ever meet.
Being American doesn't necessarily mean suddenly we forget our culture. It means that we bring our best of our culture and we share it with the best of this culture, and together it ends up being something much more beautiful. What Atlanta gave me is a sense of home, a sense of belonging, a sense of community, and not a community that looked any one way, but a very pluralistic community that had many shapes and sizes and colors. All that enriched my life. And this is my dad framed the Cyrus statue. There's a Persian magazine that published it. This is our family tree from my mother's side of the family, who are from Kurdistan, Iran. And this dates all the way back to the pre-Islamic Iran, back to the Sasanian Empire.
Is Maziar, father, my son, and then come here, Rostam.
Since I was a kid, my grandfather read poetry to me. I'm named after the lead character of an epic poem called The Book of Kings. So it was in my blood, poetry at least. The opening verse of the whole book is on my back in my grandfather's handwriting. And it says, Bename Khodavand Jan o Khirad, in the name of the God of wisdom and life. It's me and my grandpa's favorite verse.
In Iranian culture, are tattoos permitted? I know sometimes that's a taboo.
You know, I think this new generation, it's definitely been embraced, but it was like growing up. My dad was like, you know, if you ever get a tattoo, I'll disown you, right? Like he was that like adamant about it, and I was like, okay, bet. This really goes back to like the love I have for my grandfather and the love he instilled in me for Iran and Iranian culture. That kind of brings us together, reading poetry. It's the language that we speak, you know, most fluently together. The Book of Kings is an epic poem. It was written about 1,000 years ago by a man named Abul Qasim Ferdowsi. He wrote a 50,000 verse poem in almost pure Persian that saved not only our language, but our stories. And a lot of that was written down before him, but he translated into verse because verse would stick, because it's art. By making it art, he knew he would permanently implant it on the Iranian spirit. When you read the Book of Kings, it's a story of like resisting evil, protecting Iran, safeguarding values, being a champion. His spirit is as alive now as ever, and even more so now in this renaissance that's happening. The young people, they're identifying with that Iran that Ferdowsi has so perfectly preserved for us.
This is our history, this is our culture, and this is our root. It doesn't matter what part of the world we live, Iran is always with us. I want my kids, the generations after us, they born and raised in this country, they carry that culture. The other thing is our hospitality is on top of the roof. There is no way you go to a Persian family's house and they go from A to Z, soup to nuts, take care of you in their house.
How do you say cheers?
Be shadi.
Be shadi.
Be shadi.
Be shadi.
Means to joy.
So there's this concept in Persian culture, and it's called taruf. And taruf basically is like service to others, almost, right? You want to kind of almost overserve your guests and your friends and your family. And so when you have guests come over to your home, you're constantly offering them tea and food and sweets.
It's crispy rice, so it's tadig. Tadig literally means bottom of the pot. Some people say it tastes like popcorn.
When we go out to the restaurant, we're fighting over who gets to pay the bill. And they're like, no, don't taruf with me. I can pay the bill. No, I can pay the bill. And so there's a lot of this kind of community of service and of serving others and of being around others and making sure that others are accounted for before you kind of account for yourself.
That is from Iranian, say think good, say good, do good.
For me, the misconception people have about the Iranian American community is the superficial or the vapid. Range Rovers and real estate and gold chains and that always kind of makes me a little sick because it's like that's so anti what it means to be Iranian. That's not us. That does not look like the 99% of Iranians who, these are people who will invite you in their home, who want to make a home cooked meal with you, talk about poetry, talk about philosophy, talk about history. I think inviting more people in to see our culture looks like inviting them to our homes, inviting them to our performances, inviting them to our plays. Like, let people see who we are. I think that is how we can better dispel these sort of myths of like what it means to be Iranian. And then there's the whole other myth, which is like the view that Americans have of Iran, which is this like terroristic, American-hating, freedom-hating regime. What people have to realize is this regime that is in Iran is not of Iran.
The identity and the culture is separate from the geopolitics of it all. Iranian culture is all about giving and service and just love for your neighbor and love for those around you.
Iranians are the most freedom-loving people. They're the ones living in oppression. Like, who loves freedom more than someone who's been enslaved? Iranians are the people who are fighting those kinds of people and resisting those kinds of people, and that's what Cyrus outside symbolizes, that resistance. When Cyrus liberated Babylon, he took the people's statues and idols that were under Nebuchadnezzar's control and gave them back to the people, right? I think that's a beautiful symbol of the statues going back and people being able to worship what they want to worship. When Iran is free, this statue will travel to Iran as a gift from the American people and the Iranian American people to the Iranians, and then another one will take its place here.
I was born and raised in Georgia. I love it here. Yes, there's racism everywhere. And yes, it's the South and there are problems. And yes, there are political parts of the state I do not like. But it's also the state where I made a community and that took care of me and is incredibly diverse. What makes me proud to be a citizen of the United States is the privileges that come with it, like the opportunities that are granted here. I grew up and had access to a great education. I had access to healthcare. My dad was able to take advantage of the American dream, and my parents both built themselves up from nothing. This country is a complex melting pot of different identities that you do not find anywhere else I've traveled in the world.
I don't want to hyper intellectualize it, but we have these concepts in American culture of the model minority, right? Of this expectation of like, okay, what does a good immigrant look like? There is an expectation to kind of assimilate into American culture and to be this model for what someone from a different country can be. And there is so much stigma around being someone from the Middle East that you want to reduce people's perceptions and misconceptions about you and your identity and the type of person that you are and the type of values that you have, where it's just fine to be yourself. Like, why do I have to put on a show? I just want to be myself. I just want to be as authentic as I can. And being authentic is just leaning into my Persian culture and being the person that plays soccer in the park with my cousins, and we drink chai and sit on the floor and eat with our hands and have time with our family and love for our elders and all those around us in our community. And I think that, like, you don't have to be a model. You just have to be yourself.
Before me. Why, yeah?
Funding provided by the Faraday and Ali Azadi Foundation.